You got the recording sign?
Yeah, got it.
All right, Munji, do you consent to the recording of this podcast
Yes, I do.
and the subsequent release of this podcast on various platforms?
Yes, I do.
Then here we go. Everybody, welcome Munji to Blanco's Conversation Podcast. We've been talking about this for a while, man.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
man.
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I met you about 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years and like 5 months.
Ah, you've been here that long, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been here that long.
So tell everybody where you originally from.
I'm from Cameroon. That's in Central West Africa. It's a small country of about 20 million people. 250 ethnic groups.
Jeez.
I mean, yeah, a lot of different cultures in one country, just among that. Yeah, and it's like in the tropics too. So it's like raining and like dry. We don't have no winter and none of spring. We just have we don't have
just hot and dry.
Two of this. Yeah, we just have hot and dry. We have just 2 seasons, So that's basically about it.
So, what's the history of your country? How did it get like that? Like, just so many different, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So for that conversation, that's like a long conversation. But I'm going to crack it down.
There you go.
The easiest manner possible, right? So my country, we came from like every other place in Africa. Because my country is called Africa in miniature. That means if you want to go to Africa, go to Cameroon. We have the desert, we have the savannah, we have the rainforest. It's like that big, And we so the people from the north, like the Muslims, and they came and settled up north where there's this, because they have their own kind of climate which they flourish in. And that is like the dry, like the desert for climate. So they settled around the desert, while the people from the tropics, from the people from like Congo, they came and settled at the rainforest that we have. Then we have these people that settled in the highlands. The highlands are the savannah, where it's just grass. Where I come from the grass. Yeah. So it's like a different group of people. Then within them, before the white man came to Africa, they had like these people, like clans. People live with their families and call themselves maybe the Ngembas, the Mogamos. They have different names they call themselves, the Bafut and this and that and that. And those clans became villages. And as things were getting modernized and they were developing, and that is how they formed different ethnic groups. Most of these ethnic groups speak almost similar languages, because it might be my brother is from that group, I'm from this group. When the families get too big, I'll be like, hey, I'm moving my family and my people, the people, my followers will create our own village. So it's almost similar languages, but you have like these small things that change within them. And that's how you get 250 ethnic groups in like a small country of 2 million people,
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
So what happens then? Like after, people from Europe and whatever start coming over, man? How does the history change? Is there any violence, war, civil war?
Yeah, it has everything to do with, first of all, the jihads. The good thing about some other places in the world is that they didn't experience the jihads, right? So you have...
Well, what is that? Explain
Islam.
that. What is that?
All right, Islam came to Africa with
jihad.
the
jihad. I got you.
Yeah, Islam came to Africa with the jihad. So most of the Black people in some cities were killed if they were not going to change their faith. In fact, they didn't even have a faith. They were mostly pagans. So the jihad came out. I was like, you know what? If you don't want to be like us, if you don't want to learn our culture, we're killing you. So these people had to flee from the north and come down south to run away from the jihads. This is how some of these groups got formed, you know. And at the end of the day, the people, when they left and then they came down, they started pushing for their own land. You know, they started fighting other groups that were already down for their own land. And this is how the stronger groups got the best lands, and then the weaker groups went like right into the forest because they could not fight the stronger group. So that's how the whole thing happened. And then it didn't do it no justice after the First World War. My country was, because Germany was like the people who colonized my country. Okay. And so after the First World War, my country was divided between England and France. So one third of the country was given to England, and then 2/3 was given to France. You know, as the like administered only like differently. The French people tried to do assimilation, all this kind of weird stuff. Like, you know, we will treat you like French people. If you start to talk like us, you wear our clothes. They try to completely brainwash the people. Then the English people were like, you know what? I'm going to leave you guys to administer yourselves. You know, I'm going to leave your culture to lead. And it created two different systems. And when they left, we came back together, you know, and that togetherness could not work because the French people's mentality now is the mentality of centralize everything. While the English, the other side of the country, they already learned to live on their own. They learn to have their materials and, you know, work for their stuff. But these people want everything to be given by the government. And you know how those two systems, there's the English system with the common law and there's the French system with the public law. These two things come together every time, and it's just different, you know. So these are some of the things that cause like the kind of clashes we have in Africa now, and then people have to start moving and looking for greener pastures elsewhere. Yeah.
So what ended up happening? Are you guys because the French and the English left, are you guys like communist, socialist? Are you democratic? What's the country?
So it is this kind of weird democracy, right? Is very weird. Like it's only in Africa and maybe some places in South America that this kind of thing happens. Like my president has been in power for 33 years, you know. Yeah, he has been in power since I was born. I've known just him. My mom knew the other president, and that was it. We have had just two since existing. So the first president made like 28 years. Then this dude has come in and he's like on his, you know, 32nd year. And
really an election though?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's like a weird democracy. You don't know, but I mean, every time we go to the poll, this man wins, you know. He's so popular, you know. You cannot say it's not an election because people went to the ballot boxes. You cannot also say it was fair because he wins all the time. And you see,
so you think the elections are legit? He actually is winning. He's not fixing the elections.
No, I think that you cannot say
you don't know.
Election, no, you don't know, because some people will tell you like, oh, I'm speaking from a place of out of it. I cannot be like, oh, it's fake or it's real, because I see people go to vote and people will be like, hey, I voted for the president. I feel like he is the right choice, you know. And you see these other people be like, no, I think he stole the election. So at the end of the day, you guys all voted for who you voted for. Because you lose, I'm not going to give it to you like, oh, he stole the election. Nah.
Kind of like what's happening here in the United States.
Yeah, like, you know, like that. When I lose, it was all fraud. But if I win, it's good to go. You know what I'm saying?
Donald Trump right there, yeah.
Hey, hey, let me tell you something, all right? America is bleeding out right now. You guys have to understand it. Like, they have, like, I don't have the right to vote because I'm not a citizen. But people who do, I think they should make better choices, man. You have young, vibrant people coming up, you know. They should not keep this old cycle going around.
Yeah.
I don't understand how in the primaries you have like Andrew Yang, you have like Cory Booker, you have these Republicans don't even want to show up at this point. They already have a pilot, you know. I think that the not even like generally there was another kind of vibe when Obama was there. He was like but you know, he didn't really function to like, because his hands were tied, you know,
Yeah.
he had nothing to work with, but there was a vibe. You felt the country was young. And Trump, 4 years of Trump, and then we have our good old president. But at the end of the day, man, we need a mind that is young and is ready to explore all that stuff. I just feel that America should think right before the vote. I mean, I'm not in that place.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like,
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and I would like to see someone fresh with ideas, but I think the problem is the politics today is because we have a two-party system, and they don't want to work with each other, man. They're supposed to work with each other. That's the way it's designed, right? They're supposed to be in there for us. But if you're on the left or if you're on the right and someone else from the other side is trying to push a bill or whatever, that might be good for your people. You say no anyway, because you don't want to give them a win. You know what I mean? And I think that's the problem. It shouldn't be about your party winning. It should be about us, the people, winning. You know what I mean? Like, there's good bills from both sides. President Trump had good bills. Bush, a lot of, Republicans, Democrats have good bills. But the people fight it because they just don't want to give the other person. They don't want to look like they're helping the other party. And they don't want to take an L. And I don't think it's an L, but that's how people see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I also think it this way though. Everything in America is between a win and a lose. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
This is the problem. All right, in my field, I'm a soldier. If I need to help another company, all they need to do is to come tell my company commander, hey, please, can we get 2 soldiers to help push this forward? It's all the army, it's something bigger than us. It's not for us. And the day people start to understand that America is bigger than them, I'm telling you, I've been outside.
America is bigger than us. I like that. Wow.
Yeah, I've been outside. No, hey, please do. I've been outside and I've seen with like 1,000% how people want to come into America so bad, and you get to understand how frustrating it is when you come in and then somebody is like, oh, this country sucks, this and that, and they carry these grievances. I'm telling you, there's no place in America there's no place in the world that somebody is treated fairly than America. Even in my country, I wasn't treated fairly. Yeah, I'm telling you. So people don't get it. In your country, if I go back home, I have this freedom. I feel like I belong. Yes. Yeah. I feel like the people, I understand what they say. They understand me, right?
Yeah.
But you also feel like you have to watch your back.
Okay.
In America, you have to watch your back. But America is so open that if somebody tries to do something, people even step into that light to cover you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like people should leave America, go out to some of these countries that were called shitty countries. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, Africans do not have a problem with somebody calling them shitty because they know that it's shitty. We know where we come from,
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit down here and be like, oh, no, I know. So when former President Trump said what he said, we're like, hey, my brother and I were like, hey, man, that's why we're here.
It is what it is, right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Yeah, we're here because we want to make it better. We could not make it better for ourselves there. So we came over here to like, hey, these opportunities are here. These people are lovely. Let's come contribute what we can, And that's how you roll. But you cannot appreciate America if we have not left America. Okay, tell me, you've been in Korea now for about 2 years, 2 years and plus, right? You want to go back home. The appreciation that you had, it's different now. you've like stayed here, you understand some things, you look from outside, like this country is different, you know. Now when you go back home, you will see some things and you'll be like, you know what? I'm blessed to be here. Trust me that there are millions of people who just want to see America before they die.
Yeah.
And then we fight amongst ourselves. We cannot get common basic like things for people. People still sleep on the streets. That's the thing that is crazy, you know. And I don't know, but I just think America is in a place of rebuilding itself, and
Yeah.
and
All right, man. I want to say two things, dude. I like what you're saying. The first thing I want to say is that, you know, me, I was born here. I'm like a first generation, you know, but my most of my heritage comes from Puerto Rico, which, you know, we're citizens. You know what I mean? But when you come here, a lot of times you're treated like a second class citizen, being a minority, or if you're black too, you know, you get treated like a second-hand citizen. But also in Puerto Rico, politics are like a really big thing. Anyone from Puerto Rico who's lived there will tell you that it's crazy. Like it's nuts, and it gets violent and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I've lived in other countries before Korea. I was in the Navy before. I lived in Italy, and I got to travel around, and I got friends from all over the world, from Africa. My wife is from South America. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of exposure to that. And what I noticed with all of that is that people who are second-class citizens, or, you know, immigrants from somewhere else, seem to follow the American ideals more than people who have been living here forever. You know what I mean? It's like they really appreciate the idea of that, you know, we're all equal, we have the freedom to speech, you know, all these things that sort of make America what it is, a democracy, and we're not just like some crazy dictatorship. Those people are making that dream true, where people who have been here forever seem to kind of like just take it for granted. That's one thing. The second thing is what you were trying to say before, that everyone sees things here like win or lose, or like you either a baller or you a fucking piece of shit. It's like, dude, there's a whole bunch of levels in between there that are pretty good. Matter of fact, I'd rather not be the guy on the top, because sometimes being the guy on top sucks. That guy or girl is not having a lot of fun. Being the guy who's like number 2 or number 3 is probably the best one, man.
Right there.
That's the good spot. Yeah.
True. I mean, you see, it goes back to the thing of appreciation, right? You see, most immigrants have seen worse. They have seen violence, they have seen noise, they have seen death, they have seen filth, they have seen disrespect. And you come to a country that is a beacon of hope. You come to a country, you know, the what America has sold to the world, from its movies, clothes, fashion, sports, everything. You can imagine the joy I had when I landed at JFK for the first time. I didn't eat that day. Like literally, I did not eat. I was at the airport for like, I landed at the airport at 2 a.m, right? And my flight to Portland was at 6 p.m. I did not eat for that day. I ate at 4. My uncle had tried calling my phone, but my phone, I did not know that I could connect to the Wi-Fi at the airport. My airport doesn't have a Wi-Fi. So I was like, you know, I have my phone, I'm waiting for my next flight. I had my tickets on hand, you know, and that's what I was waiting for. And I hear my name on the intercom, and I'm like, hey, Munji. And I'm like, hey, have I done something wrong? You know, I'm like, what have I done? I just got to this country. I start getting scared, because why I come when they call your name on something that big, trust me, you need to like, hey, you need to, you know. I was like, hey. So I traveled to this little cousin of mine, Clark, and I was like, hey, Clark, we had not eaten for that long. The money I had was my country's money, and I already knew in my mind I couldn't speak like proper English, nothing, like I could not go. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to disgrace myself here. But the airport could give you food if you don't have money, you know. And these guys come, they're like, hey, when you got here? I'm like, hey, I got here at 2. They're like, have you eaten? I'm like, no. Like, oh my God. You know, they gave me these stamps, and they're like, go to the food court, get anything you want. Oh my God. I saw food. I said, let me eat food. So you know how like you just like for the first time in America, the first meal,
Uh-huh.
I had to go for the burger. You know, that was when I had a bite of the burger, I was like, this is freedom. You see the
Whoa.
drink thing. This is the things you appreciate when you don't have them. When you go
Yeah.
to somewhere, you cannot eat a proper burger from maybe a Burger King or from I don't know, like anything like, I mean, we from Texas, we have the best burgers, but if you cannot have like a proper burger, man, like you start to understand some certain things, you know, and just that appreciation that we need, I think that it goes a long way. Because okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you think the approval rating in the Congress is? An individual person. See, a congressman's rating is 95%, but the whole of the Congress is less than 20% like approval ratings,
Hmm.
you know, because people do things just for their group. And
Yeah.
when you start to divide things by groups, that's when the division comes.
Yeah.
And we yeah, so it coming to Africa, what I'm seeing happening in America is that division. I told you, have 250 ethnic groups.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? In the ethnic groups, the politicians do things just for their ethnic groups.
Yeah.
They don't do things for the rest of the country. Things don't
Mhm.
move when you're divided. And it is showing. Look at everything is going up in America right now. People don't want to come together and work together to make things happen. You know, so that's just my take on some of these on that issue. Um,
Yeah, I agree with what you were saying about suffering. Like, how do you appreciate something if you never like lost it? I think that's what
lost
I'm talking about the people who have been here for generations since the Mayflower. They take those that hold all those values and stuff that we have like
yeah,
for like granted. You're like, yeah, you don't know what you got until you lost it, like they say.
true, true, true. It's crazy, right? And if you look at like let's talk about the recent issues around the Floyd the is it
Yeah,
George
yeah.
Floyd? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good. I try not to keep the names of people that were killed by the cops.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I personally I think that when you start keeping those things, and I mean I'm already at that point where I talk about these things and move on,
Yeah.
because when you talk about these things, you move on, you see there's a line. You know, there's a line. I don't want to go to the back stories and the front stories. I want to understand that somebody was killed. Anytime somebody is killed, that's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
I don't care if the person was a thief or not a thief. Just is so lost. That's a generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God told Abraham, like, hey, you don't have no kids right now, but a generation is going to come from you. And the day Abraham had Isaac, and he started to go until the whole nation of Israel came from Abraham. You know, so one person, you alone, is a generation. You have kids, your kids have kids,
Right,
grandpa,
right. I
great,
see what you're saying. Yeah.
you know. So when
Mm-hmm.
that person is gone, you don't know what the plans that were supposed to come through that person. Maybe the next black billionaire was supposed to be that person's child, if not that
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel anytime a soul is lost, it's a loss for all of us, you know. And I also say this to say this. I feel like we of the black race, you see, there's a difference between an African black person and an American black, you know.
Yeah.
An African black person is this person who came from Africa. That's an African American. You see, in Africa, we call everybody American. If you're like Black American, you Green American, we
Just
purple
American.
anything, you're American. You
Yeah.
know, when we
Yeah.
see you, we're happy to see you because we believe that you come with money. You come with something that we don't have. We're happy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you go to Africa right now, I think you've been to some places in Africa like Djibouti and the rest, right? You see the difference. People don't have clothes. They see just the military uniform. They're like, oh my God. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
they're so fascinated. They want to know how you get there. Africans don't like to live in America per se, because we don't have like the food and the stuff, but we come here for the opportunities. Guess what? At the age of 50, people go on retirement, they go back home. Trust me, every African who is living in America, let me not say every, most of them, they have houses back home. They come here, it's easy. $1 gives me a lot of money. I'm going to take that money and build a house. When during retirement, I go back home, right? I'm not coming here to stay forever. No, I don't want to get buried here. I want to go back home and get buried with my ancestors. Africans that are Black, we have like, you see, the mentality of being washed. We don't need to wear jewelry to prove anything. We don't need to wear Jordans to prove anything. We have nothing to prove. You know, we are proud. We know where we come from. We eat with our hands. We dance weird. That is who we are. You know, we are proud. I feel this is my thinking. This is me, right? I feel like the Black people in America, the Black people who were born in America, they are culturally misplaced. You know, they'll be like, oh, Taco Bell is so good. They have all these cultures. They don't know, they have anger within them, you know. And if you see a white man and be like, let's talk about slavery and how it impacted the Black man, like, oh, no. I wasn't there during slavery. I don't know nothing. Dude, we didn't say you were there. I want to tell you how the difference it has made between the white race and the Black race in America, you know. Just a Black man in a bank is intimidating because you think it's a thief. No, it's not. Came to ask for a loan like any other person. Loan approvals for Black people is different from loan approvals for white people. House appraiser for Black people is different from house appraiser for white people. You see, all of these things is systematic, and people don't get it. People think that, oh, because they don't still have chains on your necks or this or that, the system is not still against them. Right. But when you want to talk, and look at a country like South Africa, I think America should learn a lot of like great things from Africa. South Africa, after the apartheid, they came together, right? They had a commission. And the white people that were beating on Black people, they were like, hey, this white man beat on me. They were like, they called the white man. Why did you do that? It was like, oh, my commander told me to do that. They called the commander. It was like, hey, it was from above. They called this one. It was like, hey, you know what? I didn't know better. Now they all have to apologize to these families that they were horrible. I'm telling you. And the thing was, after that, they had an election and Nelson Mandela won. When he won, he took a white man to be his vice president. All the Africans were like, oh my God, how can you do that? You take the colonizer and you win the colonizer and bring the colonizer. No, this man understood what it was. It was unity. If they won the elections and everything went all Black people will start taking the white people's farmlands and everything, right? And that's how the country goes down. Mugabe did it till today. Zimbabwe has never been the same, you know. But when he did that, he still involved the white people because he said, we have to live together to go. We cannot carry these things and go with them.
Go forward
and
with it,
You know, and now South Africa is the third largest economy in Africa because of that decision. But people get it. It's togetherness wins all the time, you know, togetherness.
Yeah, so what you were talking about, like the systematic racism in the United States, man, I've experienced it, man. I'm like, I got a unique perspective because I look very white, but I'm Puerto Rican. And then I grew up in an all Black neighborhood in New York. So I've experienced racism in all types of ways, man. But I just want to say one thing, like kind of like what you were talking about, because, you know, in this country, you feel the racism, you see it, right? But I was in the Navy, and I remember us traveling to other countries in Europe that are mostly very white, right? But you could be a very racist white person, right? Out in these countries in Europe, and you're with the guys that you're working with who could be Black, Latino, Asian. And when you're that person and you're out there, you don't see the color no more. You only see these guys are Americans. And those are something else. It kind of changes your whole perspective. Like in a way that builds brotherhood. When we travel out there, we go to these other places. That guy even if you're racist, and I'm telling you that black guy is not a black guy no more. He's just a
No.
brother. He's just an American like
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean? It changes everything once you get out of there.
True. Okay, let me say this though. You know, people are not racist to you until they feel like you want to take their spot. You know.
Tell me more. Tell me more. I got a theory like that.
Yeah, people don't get racist towards you until they feel like you want to replace that's the mentality of a racist. You know, oh, you come here to take our everything and you don't give us shit. That's the mentality of a racist. America has its problems. I'm going to say this, but America is 100% better than any country you would tell me about. I don't care what country it is when it comes to racism. Let's talk about Korea. Okay. There's a store out in Osan, which if you go to the store, the person tells you, if you're not an American soldier, I'm not selling. That's racism. Why does that person say that? That person says that because Africans that have some money, I want to show up, want to buy some Jordans. This is a Jordan store. So you know how Black people like Jordans, right?
Yeah.
And they can't buy Jordans because this lady is like, and her husband. But Black people go there when they're in the military and they don't call this thing racism because it works for them.
Right, okay.
You know what I'm saying? But this other race cannot get money and go buy shoes because they are not American soldiers. But we American soldiers, because it works for us, we don't care.
Right, that's true. When you see the benefits for you, it's like you could see the other side. You can go, oh, that sucks for them. But then you just move on with your life.
So it's the same thing for the white people, though. I'm going to want to get a loan. What they tell you about the loan at the bank, I don't care. I want to get a loan for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that
prosper from the racism. You prosper from it.
Good.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I always say this. If I was in his shoes, what would I do different?
Yeah, and people don't do that. They need to, and everyone thinks, no, I'll do it different. Mother, you don't know. You're full of shit, man. You don't know. Yeah. You really got to use mental power to stop and put yourself whenever you disagree with someone, take that position, man, and think about it. What exactly would you do? And don't think you're Jesus, because most people were not Jesus, man.
It's like the L factor, right? Somebody can tell you, okay, I'll tell you right now, let's do a test. Put a finger L on your face. So somebody will go like this, another person will go like this. You know, the person that is going to give you an L in such a way that you will see the L and be like, oh, this is an L. And the person that will give you an like backwards is two different people.
Okay.
The person that is going to give it to your perspective in such a way that you read it and be like, oh, that's an L. And me, I'll be like, oh, this is my L for me. This is how my L is. Two different
things from you. Yeah.
See from my angle, but now you get to understand that at times I'm like, you know what? I don't really blame people because people are people. I want the best for me and my children. I want the best for my kids, you know. Because when I look at this example, if this store had said that Black people should not come in and buy shoes, I'm telling you right now, it could be another thing. They could have already put a petition, oh, this store doesn't want us to buy J's, this, that. And just Koreans and white people are allowed in the store, Now that the Koreans have said, okay, the people that always have all these petitions to write, come and get shoes. You don't give a shit about who doesn't get it. And so at some point, I'm like, we are not fair to ourselves, first of all, before being fair to other people. And I'm going to tell you this. In my existence in America, Korea, walking around, you know, I've had more racism from the Black Americans than the whites. I'm telling you, the Black Americans have given me more like, oh, and then when they do it, they'll be like, oh, we are together, we are Black people. No, we are not, different. I don't come to you and be like, oh, you eat watermelon and chicken. It's not a thing that I would say to somebody, right? Because it's true. I don't care what you eat. I don't care if you eat it or not. I will not tell you that, oh, your daddies don't stay at home. They're always in jail. I'll not tell you things like that. You know, you just see me. Sometimes people assume that it's funny, but at times it's just like, dude, it's not a thing. Just like, oh, you know, say some crazy thing to
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like it's not African.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, you know, something like that. I'm like, you know, that is fiction, right? Like, if you want to say something, get your facts straight. Ask me reasonable questions. Ask me sensible questions. Oh, let's talk about it. What is you see what you're doing right now? Giving me a platform to talk about my experience. That is how you learn, and that is how you educate other people. Don't just go out there like Wakanda forever, or you do some dumb stuff. I don't get it. I don't know what that is. It's not me. It's fiction, and people don't get it. The friends I have that are like white people. They always ask me like inquisitive questions, like, so how is it different? What is different? How do you enjoy it? You know, they try to they want to know. And this is what the white person does. I'm sorry. This is what they do. They come to you. They want to know how you live. They want to understand what you do. And if possible, they like go into your lives and then they mess it up for you. This is what they do. You see the black person, he doesn't understand that theory. They're all about the surface. Oh, you talk funny. Oh man, I can't get you. You know, I don't understand you. A white person will be like, you try to understand me. I went to Portland immediately from Africa. I went to Portland. For some reason, my uncle's friends are all white people. He is like in a white community. This African dude in a white community is all about the community and everything, right?
Yeah.
We go to church on Sunday, and everybody's like, you know, oh, you're from Africa, and they try to understand me. Oh, really? They try to understand, and like they're patient to hear. I go to Houston. I left there. I stayed there for a month. I left. I went to Houston. In Houston, where my community is like black, like a lot of black people in my community. And I have these crazy neighbors. Oh man, I don't get you. What's that sound? What's that smell that comes out of your house when you cook? Like they're like, oh man, I don't understand. Like, you know, that so they are not patient to understand. When it's not comfortable for them, it's not comfortable for everybody.
I've noticed, man, this is what you're talking about for a long time. My first experience with it when I was growing up in Brooklyn, you know, you're a young guy, you're just realizing things like, oh, these are Puerto Ricans, these are Dominicans, these are blacks, these are or whatever, you know, you're just kind of realizing things when you're growing up. And I remember this, man, where there was a lot of Jamaican guys where I lived. And the Jamaican guys did not want to be called black. They're like, I'm not black, don't call me black. You know what I mean? Like, I just like, oh, okay. Like, that's the first time I realized that there was an issue between, when I say black, I mean American, really. You know what I mean? Even the term white, like there's no country white. When you say white, you really kind of maybe just mean America. I guess you could say Europeans too, but when you say black, you mean Americans, is what you're saying. You know what I mean? Guys who've been here for like generations, you know? But I noticed that there was a divide like that, like you're saying, and I don't know where it comes from. Like, what's the animosity between black, let's say Haitian, Jamaican, different countries in Africa, or even South America? There's a lot of black people, you know, in South America too, you know, who don't get recognized as being black too, you know, like actually it's changed now, but when I was very young, all the Latinos who are black were like, don't call me black too. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it's that's changed now. Most Latinos I know who are black kind of represent it. They hold it, yeah, I am black. You know, I recognize my African roots, but I don't remember that being that way back then. So I don't know. I don't know if you have an idea of where that conflict come from. It's like, so if I imagine myself as a black man, I have a lot of black friends, right? If I imagine myself as a black man, I know all the shit that my ancestors went through, right? To try to earn our respect. We're fucking American citizens, man. We fought in every war this country's ever had. And yet, like I said, second-class citizens. Oh yeah, you're citizens, right? So I could see possibly where, okay, here's this other black dude that comes from somewhere else that didn't deal with the shit that I dealt with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe in their eyes, maybe you're getting treated better or differently. I don't know. What, you got any ideas about why that animosity is there?
All right. So the Haitians and the Jamaicans, they have this pride about the islands.
Yeah.
You know, the belief that they are from the islands, and at the end of, first of all, let me say this: every Black person is from one place.
Well, the whole human
Yeah.
race pretty much started in Africa. So in a way, we're all African.
So everybody has an African something in them.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when you see somebody who is predominantly Black, they have one place. Either your great something came from Africa. You're Black. The truth is that in America, people live in a fantasy world. I'm not Black. I feel I'm white. And it's okay. Somebody was like, oh, she identifies as white. What do you mean? You're Black. You understand? These are the conversations that people don't want to have. They are not frank. They're not true to themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's not bad to say that the color of my skin is Black. When is Black or is white or is purple or is green. When it's bad is when somebody takes that and go against you. Like, oh, because you're Black or because you're white, you can't come in. This is communities excluded to you because you're Black or because you're white. This is when it's bad. Jamaicans have they're like, oh, I'm not Black. I don't know if they say I'm not Black because they feel like you're putting them to African Blacks or you're putting them to American Blacks.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's when I was young. I don't know if a lot of them still feel that way, but I remember them talking like that when I was young, you know?
No, because I've spoken to a couple of them and they'll be like, oh, I'm not African. I'm like, dude, no Africans don't want you, Jamaicans. That's something you don't get to, like, you don't understand. We don't want no people. Africans are the most greedy and stingy people you ever meet alive.
Oh, yeah?
We don't want you guys to be us. You cannot be us. We want you to enjoy, but don't be us. You understand? We are there for a reason. We play our part. Don't be us. If there are no poor people, there's no reason for rich. There'll be no rich people.
Yeah,
Africans play the poor people part, and rich people get to stay rich and give them donations, clothes, and food. We don't care, you know. But we accept that we are poor. Jamaica and Africa, there's no difference. There are cities in Africa that can knock Jamaica out, knock Kingston out, and knock everybody in there out. We have billionaires in Africa. We have a lot of billionaires in Africa. Africa, first of all, is a continent. I don't compare it to Jamaica. Jamaica is an island which can be washed out tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So instead, connect yourself to those. And this is the mistake they're all making. There is nothing in these islands. It's an island. It's water around it. Connect yourself to the motherland. We have land. We have space. Look at Samuel L. Jackson. He had his citizenship as a Gabonese, had his land. You have a lot of celebrities.
Akon too, I heard. Eric Akon has his own city in Africa.
Yeah. And he has his cryptocurrency, the Acoin, and he has all these partnerships with the Chinese to build him a city. They gave him a lot of land for that. This is the thing. In America, they follow celebrities. They allow these celebrities to do these things before normal people want to do them. You think these guys are dumb to start looking for citizenship in Africa? No, they get it. There will be a time where America will be so hot to live in that you need to slide out, you know. Bro. But people don't understand. People do not understand. If you're a Black man, this is the best time for you. I don't care if you're poorish or as long as you're Black, get a DNA something. Oh, I recognize with this country. Make a phone call to the external relations. My DNA says my great-grandparents came from here and I want the citizenship. They are giving it to you. Just the fact you come from outside, they know you're coming in on money. You see, difference. But
yeah, man. Hey, I'm 13% African, man. I did my DNA, bro. So I'm going to come home to the motherland.
We have white people in Africa. If you go to South Africa, you see a lot of white people, rich people, Puerto Ricans, and everything.
Hey, so we're running out of time, man. I want to just go over some stuff. This is really good, man. It's a really good podcast. I definitely want to have you on again. But two more things quick before we go. When you came into JFK from Africa, did they show you a video about American culture? And was that video kind of negative towards Black people in America? Do you remember anything like that? Because I had a friend that says that this is happening. I don't know if it happened to you.
Nah, it didn't happen to me though. It didn't happen to me. They didn't show me no video, nothing. I mean, I didn't even talk to nobody at JFK. The only time I spoke to somebody was when they came to give me food, when they came to ask if I had eaten.
Okay. What about Portland? Because your final destination was Portland, right?
Yeah, Portland.
Okay, so about when you got off at Portland, did you see any videos or like when you go through the, what do you call that, immigration, the terminal, when they stamp your passport or your visa and all that stuff?
No. First of all, no. Let me tell you. First of all, right, real quick.
Yeah.
They don't need to show you that. In my country,
you already
in Africa,
know about it, right?
They already know that Black people are the crazy people. You know why?
Why?
The movies, man. The movies, the way they dress, the way they portray the Black man. They don't show us the corporate Black man, the Black man who put on the suit and go to work. No, we don't.
Or just the average middle-class blue-collar Black guy living with his family, doing the thing he's supposed to do. Yeah.
So all of this is TV. And as long as the people who control the narrative continue to control it, that is what you're going to see.
Yeah.
And that is what the rest of
Look at rap music, man. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when rap music first started. It wasn't all gangster stuff, you know what I mean? But then somewhere like in the late 80s, early 90s, it became rap music is gangster rap music. There is no separation. There's only gangster music.
And they promote it, they promote it.
They ignored the other stuff and promoted that. Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
That's why I salute Kanye West trying to do something different. I know I'm not very religious stuff. I believe in God. I talk to God, but I'm not very religious. But I salute him for trying to do something different. And I think that's why Eminem was successful too, because Eminem didn't come out. Eminem came out, instead of saying he's the toughest dude, the baddest man, he came out saying, yo, look, I'm a crazy white boy. I got problems with my mom. My girlfriend left me. You know what I'm saying? He did a whole completely different thing. And people were like, oh, something different. This is awesome.
No, look at even the music right now. If you don't put some certain kind of lingala, like some kind of languages in them, people don't want to dance to your music. You want to be like trap, these, that, these all mental. We've been brainwashed and we don't even know. And it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, man. Last question before we go, man. It's about freedom. You were talking about something and I wrote it down. It was about freedom, right? I think you were talking about the store. Yeah, you were talking about that store that they have here in Korea that they only want to serve American soldiers, right? So I've talked to a lot of people who are racist, openly racist, man. And I've talked and have conversations. And this is one of the things they're saying. If we're truly free, a free country, I shouldn't have to be forced to serve Black people, Asian people, gay, whoever I'm against. If I'm a free country, right? We live in a free country. I have the freedom not to serve whoever I want to serve. What do you think about that? You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the people who say things like that are dumb and they don't understand, right? I think they understand it, but they just want to be somewhere else. They just want to be on a lane. First of all, freedom is that thing that says that freedom is fair. Freedom is a whole book. Freedom is fair. Freedom is kind. When you want to be free, you want another person to be free. It's not about you. Freedom is treating people with respect. You know what I'm saying? But if you go to somebody's establishment and they don't serve you, how do you feel? Do you feel a kind of way?
Do you feel free? Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. Don't want it to be done to you. That is freedom.
Okay. Freedom. But should we have laws that enforce them to sell to other people?
This is the weird thing about democracy. This is where you start to feel like, democracy is a little bit crazy when you say freedom, liberty, justice, and all of these things. When you say laws, like we are all human beings, right? I feel like when we start to be like, oh, I don't want to sell to you, but I'm having an establishment. I think people like that should have a special kind of tax. A tax that is higher than the average tax. Because if you choose to sell, it's like people that have like what is this called when people come, like you have a selected amount of people come, like
Yeah,
a
I know what
club.
you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a special kind of tax they pay because it's not open to the whole public.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they take, yeah, like Donald Trump, you can pay like 250,000 and become a member at the Mar-a-Lago or something. And you have like these club events, like these parties that they go to. A club member, you don't pay, but every year you pay some
I see
money,
what you're
right?
saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I think that people who want to choose, pick and choose who comes to their establishments, I think they have a lot of money. If you want to refuse
Those are
all the money.
private establishments. I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right,
So
that's
make
interesting.
it a private establishment and pick and choose who comes
Like
there.
Costco, you
But
got
if
to have a card. Go to
you have to have
Costco.
a card, you know what I'm saying? And you pay special. If you can't do that, then don't complain. If you cannot make it a private, everybody that comes in should be given a service. First of all, if you're a businessman and you pick and choose who comes to your establishment, you're failed already.
Probably.
You're already failed. that's
Hey,
that's just
Munji,
it.
time's up, bro.
Eh,
Thank you.
yes, sir. It was nice. Wait, am I the first African on your podcast?
African from Africa? I think so. Yeah.
Right, good. So let mark this day when the day somebody is going to buy a podcast for millions. Let this be that there was one African, the first
The first
African
African.
black from Africa